Hey everyone, I wanted to do a little bit of an update video. Last week in my $1,000 strap search, I showed my 1934A $20 Hawaii note. And I stressed the importance of this one being a mule because when I bought it, it was advertised as a mule. And when I checked in the book, it was definitely a mule. Let's see what we're talking about here. Specifically, you can see series of 1934A, and when we check the back, you can specifically see plate 204. Now, the main reason I wanted to highlight this particular note at the time was because of what I had paid for it compared to the condition. What I mean is I got this for about $70, and you'll see how it's miscut pretty bad on this side here. You can see there's hardly any of the border there at all. And actually, it does kind of intrude a little bit on the thin black line there. A lot of you are saying that that would make it an error. I'm not debating that. It very well could be a cutting error because it does interfere with that section of ink. My point was that it was put up for auction and anybody could have bid on this. And even with this being crystal clear like that, it only sold for $70. Well, let's take a look once again at the book, and I'll show you exactly what I was talking about when I was verifying mule. You can see here that for the Hawaii notes, right up here, 1934A, and then some of them have an M, and if you look, it says reverse 317 and below. Excuse me. So, checking the reverse, yes, it is less than 317, it's 204, so that's clearly a mule. But apparently, my note is special. Before I continue, let me just show this one more time. We're talking right here, the mule, and it says 100 in VG8, 150, and 200. That's what this particular book says. That's the big book. That's the book I always use. That is, of course, Paper Money of the United States, the blue book. You guys know this book. But there are other books. And when it comes to small size money, well, that is the book that you should use. Standard Guide to Small Size U.S. Paper Money. A lot of you pointed out that the mule on this didn't have to do with using a 1934 plate instead of a 1934A plate. It had to do with a micro print or a macro print of the actual number. I think it was a 0.6 millimeter versus a 1 millimeter or something to that effect. I couldn't find the exact reference in here, but that doesn't change the point that this is identified as a mule and something very particular about this particular note. If we check this book, they talk about the Hawaii notes, okay? The Hawaii notes right here, specifically the series 1934A mule Hawaii notes, and they start to list some prices. In VG, you're talking 100, VF, you're talking 250. Let's see, that is for the mule. In comparison to the non-mule, 50 to 80. So 100 and 250 for a mule versus a non-mule. But then you can see here series of 1934A late finished back 204 Hawaii brown seal. This says 100 and 150. So when you talk about the regular note at 50 to 80, this one is almost worth twice as much, according to this book, okay? This book goes into a lot more detail as far as which particular notes, how many were printed of each particular type. That's the great part about this book. I mean, if you don't have one of these, try to find one. The downside is when they start talking about prices, because this is 100 to 150. We're not going to look at that because this book is a little bit dated. In fact, if I flip to the very front, you can see the copyright on the very top, copyright 2011. So this book's 12 years old on its pricing. So 12 years ago, that may have been the price. Things have changed a little bit since then as far as paper money goes. All I can say is that realistically, it looks like back 204 for the 1934A is worth roughly double the value of the regular note. That's the best assumption I can make here. Now, even with that all being said, if I bring out the other book again, let's take a peek at what that would be. Here we go. The regular starts at 60, 95, 125. So if we were to double those, you're talking $120 to $250 in that particular range. But I've been to 2 shows in the last few weeks, and you can't find anything for the prices in this book, which is kind of interesting because in the world of coins, everybody will carry around their red book, and the dealers will tell you, no, that's retail. You have to go by the gray sheet. Whereas this is clearly supposed to be a retail price, yet you can't find prices. You can't find notes for the prices that are listed in here. They're all way over that. I did look up on eBay and I saw one of these, a little bit better condition, priced out at $950 if I remember correctly. So yeah, take a peek looking for that backplate of 204. One of the other things is when I was going through this book here, I should have kept the page, but we'll find it quick enough. When they were talking about that particular backplate, that backplate was used for more than just the Hawaii series. You can see here they're talking about the 1934A Hawaii brown seal back 204. But if I turn the page, you have Federal Reserve notes. And here's the series 1934B late finished back 204 as a Federal Reserve note. And those prices are huge. So double check if you've got any 1934Bs. See if you've got that backplate, because if that was the price 11 years ago, 12 years ago, I can only imagine what the price would be now. And of course, in comparison, here are the prices for the 34B with the correct plate. So you can see they're starting in the $40 range, unless they're stars, compared to here where they're $150 range. So that 204 backplate, that is worth a ton. Double check your stuff. That just shows once again how lucky I got with this particular one and how it pays to scour eBay. I bought this thinking it was a miscut potential error, but they weren't selling it like that. And instead, I got the ultra rare 204 backplate. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you right now. I'll tune in later on next week for all my regular stuff. This was just a quick little update. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.